Okay, YouTube land, I'm sitting here at my desk, and I know I got the messiest desk in all of YouTube land that is recorded. Anyways, had the brake lines go out on the Explorer. The passenger front, going down from the ABS pump, has a flex section in it, and just past the flex section, it literally blew the steel line apart. Like about that far after the flex section, the metal line separated. Sprayed the left side exhaust manifold with brake fluid, and motor had been running for about a minute. Just warm enough that I could put it in gear and get moving. That thing really doesn't make heat until you get on the throttle a few times. So yeah, it was above 30 degrees. Let it run for a minute. That was good enough to circulate the fluids. Put it in gear, go down the road. Anyways, I'll talk about how I treat my vehicles later on. So I blew that out. I hit the park brake, which all of a sudden my park brake that worked fine previously did not work so fine. But we'll get into that later too. Then I wasn't sure if the line that broke was the left front or the right front. And since the left front is a short run from the left wheel up through the inner fender to the ABS pump, which is on the left inner fender inside the engine bay, I thought, or I should, let me amend that. The left inner structure above the left fender well. But it hangs over the fender well. I think it's actually mounted to the unibody, not to the plastic inner fender well. But anyway, so I thought, well, let me see if it's this one, because it's a short line and I can take it off and see if that's the one that I need to replace or not. So I tried the fitting at the flex hose, and the line is rusted into it, so it turned really hard, and I did not have my 11mm or 7/16 flare wrenches here, which I know the 11mm is almost an 11 or 7/16, and they're kind of interchangeable. Not always, but kind of. And in this application they work, because I used it on the passenger side to get the fitting out in case I need to reuse it. The marks on here, I used my Nip-X pliers. Once that started stripping with an open-end wrench, and I took the Nip-X and got it out. Now, I've done that before on vehicles where the nut was kind of stripping, but the line was okay, and I've put them in and out with the Nip-X and saved customers a lot of money on having to repair a line that would get them by for another 4 or 5 years. I know my nails are kind of long. Don't worry about that. Yeah, when I turned that line just broke. I mean, the first quarter turn, the line snapped. So I had to do both front lines. And if the line was that weak, it was going to blow out anyways. Probably when the other one got full pressure returned to it, it would blow out. Also had a problem when I went to bleed the brakes. This is the right front caliper bleeder screw. Note the bulbs broke off the top. That happened as soon as I put a socket on there to open it. And I used a 3/8 drive ratchet with a 3/8 drive Mac Tools 3/8 extra deep industrial finish socket. And that socket I bought it off eBay. It was brand new. I've used it maybe 20 times. So it's not a worn out socket that was a problem. That thing was, at the top, came off it that easy. It had a problem. You know, it needed to be changed. It cost me more for the ride to the parts store than it did to get the brake bleeder screws. They were, 2 of them, a 2-pack was $246 with tax. Now I think I got some here, but I don't remember where they're at. They might be in my storage locker. Well, I went to my storage locker to get my flare tool set. I remembered somebody had borrowed the one, and I did not have a complete flare tool set. I think I got a line vise from one and a clamp from another, and I don't have any dies. Which means you basically got a collection of junk. Because you need the set that goes together. You need your dies to be for your vise and have the right angle for your flare push on them. So I went to AutoZone and I rented this set. This is the part number's on the side. Yeah, they're so that's like 87 or 27015. That's the ASE double flare tool. And the problem with this, they put the directions on the back side, so if you don't have it closed and you go look at the directions, you open it from the direction side, then everything goes everywhere. But their directions tell you how to use the tool. The tool works okay, except for this one's been rented so many times. I didn't want to buy a tool that's only going to do the one and not both, and I really want a nicer set. But here's the problem with rental tools. This has been used so many times that the 3/16 die or grip or teeth are worn off on both sides. That was how I received it, and one of the flares, the first flares I did on the line, I had to cut them both back off and redo them. And it's been a while since flared lines, but this is one of the attempts. That's all shiny around there because the vise teeth were slipping. There's an attempt I had to cut off because vise teeth were slipping. This is why when you rent these tools from AutoZone, you return the ones you rented. If you're going to buy the tool, you buy a brand new one that has not been used. Now, I'm not calling this abuse. I'm just calling this a rental tool because rental tools get used. And you can see by the dies and the wear on them, the most popular one is at 3/16. This is the next popular one. And yeah, I'm going to return this to AutoZone and get my money back minus the sales tax. They don't refund that. And but I wanted to make sure that, you know, I got my brakes done first before I bothered to return it. And if you had to buy one of these, yeah, just buy a cheap one. You can buy it at AutoZone and use it. And, you know, just for somebody that's not doing brake lines all the time, that's just fine. But if I'm going to buy another set, I want to have the dies for bubble flare and inverted, and you know, so that way I've got one set that'll do both. I would actually like to have one of those hydraulic ones. I don't know what I'm going to get yet. I might go pawn shopping next month and see what they got. This summer they were so loaded up with tools they weren't buying anything at any of the local pawn shops. Which means they're still loaded up with stuff because they had a bunch of stuff that was on loan. Yeah, their tool rooms are full of stuff that was on loan that they couldn't even sell yet. So I'll go in maybe before Christmas and see if the pawn shop's got something that's decent. I've bought tools at pawn shops for years. You go and you get things and you look at them and see if they're gently used or extremely used. And a lot of the things, if they're gently used, you can buy them. You can buy Max, Snap-on, and other tool truck brands. And the tool truck guys, even if you tell them you bought them at a pawn shop, will still exchange them for you. Because the lifetime warranty is there as long as the tool wasn't abused. Hang on, I'll pause this and try to go outside and show you on the truck what I did. I haven't made too many videos outside because of some of the neighbors here lately. But if you want to see how messy my desk is, I've got tools, I've got equipment, spare laptop computer. That's the computer I use. That's the one I used to use for Netflix. There's parts, there's papers, supplies, pens, markers, tools, speakers. Old pen caddy, older than most of y'all. Well, it's older than me, so. That was my dad's from Columbus, Ohio, and they didn't move down to Dayton until 74. Yeah, I got a screwdriver sticking in there. I got my markers. Still works, so I throw it away. And I know my keyboard looks like crud. I've cleaned that Dell keyboard a few times, and within a couple months, it just looks like this again. I know I need to clean it again. But the problem with cleaning it is the letters that are coming off it. Now, I've had that keyboard for years. And how long, you ask? I've had that keyboard for almost a decade. It still works. I like it. Nah, a decade? Yeah. Yeah. I think, well, let me check that. There. Christmas 08's when I got that. I'm sorry. So, I've had it for 9 years. The one I had before was extra noisy. It was an older keyboard. This here, I at least type somewhat quietly, and I like it. I don't like some of these other ones that are smaller than that. Okay, let me go outside and jaw a bit about the truck. Okay, folks, here we are outside at the truck. And I know my battery hold down's not right and everything. I know it's a little hard to see, and I don't have a flashlight. I can't turn the flash on the phone. Okay, that is the rear line, and that blew out November 13. I was coming home from my birthday dinner, and it blew out. So I was not feeling well the next day, and I wouldn't feel well for a while. So I paid somebody that had a shop to take us to their shop, and they put a line on there and charged me some money, and they flared the forward end back onto the line. Okay, here's the two that I did, and you can see that vise. This is the left front. You'd see that vise. It's the green armor shield stuff. It's peeled off there. It shined that metal up. This side it didn't do so bad. This is the right front, and this one I had to run. There's a 60-inch line that I've got connected to what was a 50-inch that I cut some line off of. I want to say I probably got 105 or 110 inches of line going to the right front wheel. And no, I didn't follow the factory path. I couldn't, not without having this thing on jack stands and having an assistant to help. And I don't have competent help. I don't have a good assistant. The brakes got bled, but I'm not happy with them. They don't feel right. But I got this done Tuesday night, 8:45 at night, and I had mandatory 8 hours overtime at work. I could come in at 10 and work till 6:30 in the morning. I didn't have a ride to work, so I went ahead and got the help I could, got my brakes bled well enough to stop the truck, but not from a real high speed, but well enough that'll stop it. And went ahead and drove it to work and got there in time. Anyways, I know it's kind of hard to see, but that ABS pump there, the lines go from the master cylinder over to it, and the front lines, that is about where the factory line is, because the remains of the factory line are down in there. The right front brake line from the factory goes that close to the engine, but there was a flex section in it, same with the left front and same with the rear originally. That's the left front, and it is not clipped into its holder. There we go. It runs down, I don't know if you can see it, to the flex hose there. And I put the 90-degree bend in there. I tried to do it with the bender to try and make it nice and pretty. The other side, I was working by myself. I didn't have the help I needed, and it just didn't get prettied up. Now look here at the lines. Line remains. Okay, this is the one that blew out on me. I cut the end off it, so you know, it's about that much shorter than it was born up to this point, and it blew out right past the flex section. Now all three of those lines originally had the flex section, and the rear one, when it failed, the shop I took it to, it took them 2 days to figure out where it was actually coming from, because it actually blew apart in the flex section. And I've talked to people and they're saying that never happens. Well, it can happen. This one here blew apart right after a flex section, and when I went to look at it the next day, because the day it happened I just got a ride to work, I didn't have time to mess with anything. I looked at it the next day and I saw there was a brake line that had physically separated. So I hadn't even touched it with my hand. It physically separated on its own. It just came apart. That's what coming from Connecticut, New Jersey, and being 21 years old does brake lines. Let's see. Here is the left front, which I'd cut the end off of to make sure it was standard. I looked up in catalog because they couldn't even tell me the part, so I looked up in catalog, found out that the flex hoses have a standard thread inside, and that the brake bleeder screws were a standard thread, not a metric. This is the one off the left front. I cut the pieces here. Yep, this is the piece coming down from the master cylinder. That's where I broke that by hand, and it broke real easy. It was rusty there. It was about to let go. That was the master cylinder end. It's missing a little bit more. It's probably missing about that much line. It's actually cut it long. That's where the other end that's in the house was. That just snapped off. I mean, that line would have went in no time. So my new line doesn't match the profile of the old line. I started with a 40-inch or 41-inch piece. That's what they had at AutoZone. But I went to a few parts stores first trying to find that metric end, and they have a male 12 by 1.0 but no females. And they don't even sell it in loose fittings. I was looking for a female 12.0 that had a double female, and took a female 3/8 line on the back, or I'm sorry, female 3/8 fitting, or the male 3/8 fitting. This is a your standard brake line 3/8 fitting. They come with a long one and a short one, one long on one end, one short on the other. That's one of my line cuts there. That is off the piece of the 50-inch. So that's why I took off the 50-inch. Yeah. Maybe it's 10 inches. And maybe not. I don't have my tape measure out here and I'm not worried with it. I will keep that piece of line, and I think I'm going to keep this piece of line here. That's another one. I'd flared it, or tried flaring it, and I realized it was too long. I think that's off that same line, so maybe I took 20 inches off, or 18 or whatever. Anyways, you can see it does not, that vise and that set just was not gripping. The teeth are worn out from overusage. That happens when you're renting tools out and when you overuse cheap tools. Now that's funny. I did not even notice that till now. That might be mud. That's something that's packed in there. It could be mud from being dropped down in the leaves down there. I know I didn't clean the leaves up either. Alright, well, that's all for this video for now. Talk to y'all later.